Good morning, third grade. Our target for today is I can subtract two-digit numbers with regrouping. You know that subtraction is taking a whole and subtracting or taking away a part to find the other part or difference. I'd like you to warm your brains up for today's problem by solving by solving the problem 48 minus 5 on your paper or whiteboard now. Be sure to carefully line up each place value, lining up the 8 and the 5 in the ones place and the 4 and nothing in the ones place. Go ahead and solve 48 minus 5 on your paper now. You're so right. 48 minus 5 equals 43. Great job warming your brains up, third grade. Yesterday we began learning about subtracting numbers when you need to regroup. Today we're going to learn a lot more about regrouping and subtraction. Let's look at this problem 37 minus 8. We're going to solve the problem 37 minus 8 using our place value blocks as well as our algorithm here in our place value chart. Our whole in this problem is 37. The part that we know is 8, and the other part is the answer. We don't know it yet. We're going to start by building our whole 37. We need 3 10s and 7 1s. There's our whole 37. We are now ready to begin subtracting the part 8. So we'll start in the ones place, just like when we add. I can see that in the ones place I have a 7, but I want to subtract 8. 7, our whole in the ones place, is less than the part we want to subtract 8. So right now, we can't subtract. We need to take one of our 10s and regroup it or move it to the ones place. We know that 10 10s is the same as 10 1s. So I can go ahead and take a 10 and regroup it to the ones place as 10 1s. I've gone ahead and done that here. There you can see I've taken one of the 10s and moved it to the ones place. I used to have 3 10s, but I've taken one of the 10s. So now I have 2 10s. I'll show that here. I took that 10 and I moved it to the ones place. 1 10 is the same as 10 1s. I used to have 7 1s, but then I moved 10 more 1s there. 7 and 10 more is 17. So now I have 17 1s. Now that I've regrouped those 10 1s to the ones place, I have more 1s than 8. 17 is more than 8, so now I can subtract. I'll go ahead and take those 8 1s for part 1. And now I can see what I have left. I'll use my combined distance strategy to subtract. I know that 17 is 7 away from 10. And I know that 8 is 2 away from 10. When I add 7 plus 2, it equals 9. So 17 minus 8 equals 9. I have 9 1s left for the other part, or the answer in this problem. Here you can see the 9 1s I have left. Now that I'm done with my ones place, I'll look at the tens place. I have 2 10s left in the tens place, and I don't need to subtract any 10s at all. 10 minus 2. 2 minus nothing is, of course, 2. So I have 2 10s left for the answer, or missing part, in my equation. 37 minus 8 equals 29. Remember, yesterday, third grade, we talked about how subtraction is a whole minus part equals part equation. And if we want to check the equation, we can add our two parts together and see if they equal the whole. We'll go ahead and add 29 plus 8 to double check that it equals 37. If 29, our answer, plus 8, the other part, equals 37, we solved the problem correctly. Let's see here. I can see that 29 plus 8 equals 37, which means our answer is correct. 29 was the missing part in this problem. Let's go ahead and look at another problem. Here's the problem 52 minus 16. Today, third grade, we'll be subtracting two-digit numbers like 52 minus other two-digit numbers like 16. We'll still have to be really careful and regroup when we need to. Let's go ahead and start by building our whole. Our whole is 52, our part is 16, and the part we don't know is the answer. We'll start by building our whole 52. Of course, you know that I'll need 5 tenths and also 2 ones. There's my whole 52. Now that I've made my whole 52, I can start thinking about subtracting that part 16. Just like when we add, we'll start in the ones place. I have 2 ones in the whole and 6 ones in the part. Because my whole is less than my part, I cannot subtract. I cannot do 2 minus 6. There simply aren't enough ones. So I'll have to regroup. I'm going to take one of the tens and I'm going to move it to the ones place. I know that 1 10 is the same as 10 ones, so I can do that. Here you can see I've taken one of the tens and moved it to the ones place. So I now have more ones. I'll show that here on my equation as well. I had 5 tens, but then third grade we had to regroup one of them to give us more ones. So now I only have 4 tens left. I took that 1 10 and I moved it to the ones place. I used to have 2 ones, but then I added 10 more ones. From that 10 we regrouped. 2 and 10 is 12, so I now have 12 ones. Oh good, 12 is more than 6, so now I can subtract in the ones place. Go ahead and use your combined distance from 10 strategy to figure out what 12 minus 6 equals. That will tell us the answer in our ones place. Pause the video if you need to. I know that 12 is 2 away from 10 and 6 is 4 away from 10. When I add that together, it equals 6. So 12 minus 6 equals 6. The answer or missing part in the ones place is 6. Now, third grade, we'll need to think about the tens place. I can see that I have 4 tens left in my tens place. Remember, we regrouped one of the tens to the ones place. I have 4 tens left in my whole, and I want to subtract one of them. So I'll go ahead and do that. 4 is more than 1, so I can subtract 4 minus 1. And then third grade, I can see that I have 3 tens left for my missing part, or the answer. 4 minus 1 equals 3. So the answer in the ones place is 3. I can now see that 52 minus 16 equals 36. So I have found my missing part. Because we know that subtraction is a whole minus part equals part equation, we could always check it by adding, doing a part plus part equals whole equation. 36 is the part that I found, and I can add that to the other part, 16. If 36 was the correct answer, 36 plus 16 should equal the whole 52. Go ahead and add 36 plus 16 quickly and see if that equals 52. Yep, 36 plus 16 equals 52. So our answer, 36, is correct. Let's go ahead and look at another problem together. Here's the problem 60 minus 43. 60 is my whole, 43 is a part, and the other part is the answer, or the unknown. I'll start by building my whole, 60. 60 has 6 tens and 0 ones. So I'll go ahead and build that on my place value chart. There's my problem, 60. 6 tens is 60. There are 6 tens and no ones. I'll go ahead third grade and start by subtracting in the ones place. I know that I want to solve 60 minus 43. in the whole in the ones place is 0, but the part I want to subtract is 3. 0 is less than 3, so I cannot subtract. I'm going to have to regroup one of the tens so that I have enough ones. I'll take one of the tens and I'll move it to the ones place. I know that 110 is the same as 10 ones. So I took one of my tens, now I have 5 tens, and I moved that 10 to the ones place. I know that 110 is the same as 10 ones. I used to have no tens, and then I regrouped. I used to have no ones, and now I have 10 more ones. 0 plus 10 more ones equals 10. So I now have 10 ones in the tens place. I want to subtract 3 ones. 10 is more than 3, so I can subtract. I'll go ahead and subtract my 3 ones. And I can see that I have 7 ones left. 10 minus 3 equals 7. So the answer in the ones place is 7. Now look at the tens place. I have 5 tens left, and I know I want to subtract 4 of them. So I'll go ahead and do that. When I subtract 4 tens, I can see that all I have left for the second part is just 1 10, because 5 minus 4 equals 1. It's now easy for me to see that when I subtract 60 minus 43, it equals 17. I could quickly check this by adding my two parts together. 43, the part that I could quickly check this by adding my part 17 plus my part 43, and if I'm correct, it will equal 60. Oh yes, 17 plus 43 equals 60. So our answer, 17, is the correct missing part. Let's go ahead and solve one more together. Let's solve the problem 40 minus 37. Here's the problem 40 minus 37. I'll start by building my whole. 40. That's 4 tens and no ones. Here is 40. Here is 40, 4 tens and no ones. I know that I'll start subtracting in the ones place. Oh, look, we have 0 ones and we want to subtract 7 ones. 0 is less than 7, so we cannot subtract. We're going to have to regroup. We'll take one of the tens and regroup it to the ones place. I want you to think, how many tens do I have left in the tens place now? You're right. You're right. I now have 3 tens left in the tens place. You know that we took one of those tens and regrouped it to the ones place. You also know that 1 10 is the same as 10 ones. We had 0 tens and then we regrouped 10 more tens. How many total tens do we have in the ones place? I agree. We have 10 ones now in the whole in the ones place. 10 minus 7. 10 is larger than 7, so I can subtract. I'll go ahead and do that. Oops. I want you to think, what is 10 minus 7? What will the answer in the ones place be? You are correct. 10 minus 7 equals 3. So the answer in the ones place is 3. Now look at the tens place. We have 3 in the whole of the tens place, and we want to subtract 3. Think, what is 3 minus 3? Yes, 3 minus 3 is 0, so I will put nothing in the tens place of my answer. So I will put nothing in the tens place of my answer. 40 minus 37 equals 3. I can double check this by adding my two parts, 37 and 3 back together. If I'm correct and 37 is the missing part, when I add the two parts together, they'll equal 40, the whole. Oh yes, 37 plus 3 equals 40. So we've solved this problem correctly. Now, third grade, let's go ahead and solve a few problems just using the algorithm or the equation and not using the place value chart at all. Here's the problem, 83 minus 55. We're going to, of course, start by subtracting in the ones place. Uh-oh, I noticed that the whole in the ones place is 3, but the part is 5. I cannot subtract because 3 is smaller than 5. I'm going to have to regroup one of the tens. I'll take one of the tens and I'll have 7 tens left, and I'll regroup that 1 10 to the ones place. I know that 10 ones is the same. I know that 1 10 is the same as 10 ones. So 3 ones plus 10 more ones now equals 13 ones. Now I have 13 as the whole in my ones place and 5 as a part. I can certainly subtract now. Use your combined distance from 10 strategy to subtract 13 minus 5. Oh yes, I respectfully agree. 13 minus 5 equals 8. Now look at the tens place. 7 is our whole and 5 is a part. Our whole is larger than our part, so we can subtract. Think, what is 7 minus 5? Yes, 7 minus 5 is 2, so the answer in the tens place is 2. 83 minus 55 equals 28. If you wanted to double check your answer, you could quickly add together the two parts, 28, our answer, plus 55, the part we knew. If 28 is the correct answer, 28 plus 55, the two parts, will equal the whole 83. Oh yes, look, when I check it, 28 plus 55 equals 83, so our answer is correct. Let's go ahead and solve two more problems. Here's the problem, 40 minus 19. 40 is the whole, 19 is a part, and my other part is the unknown. Look at the ones place, 0 minus 9. I cannot subtract because 0 is less than 9. My whole is less than my part. I'm going to have to regroup. I'll take a 10 and regroup it to the ones place. Think, how many tens will we have left after we regroup one of the tens? Yes, we will have 3 tens left. We'll go ahead and take the 1 10 and regroup it to the ones place. You know that 1 10 is the same as 10 ones. If we had 0 ones and we added 10 more ones, how many ones do we have now in the whole? Yes, 10 ones. We now have 10 ones for our whole and 9 ones for the part. 10 is larger than 9, so we can subtract. What is 10 minus 9? 10 minus 9 is 1, so the answer in the ones place is 1. Now look at the tens place. Our whole is 3 and our part is 1, so we can subtract. Think, what is 3 minus 1? Yes, 3 minus 1 is 2. So our final answer for 40 minus 19 is 21. Remember, you could check your answer by adding the parts back together, 21 plus 19. If our answer 21 was the correct answer, these two parts will equal our whole, 40. Oh yes, they do. Now you have a problem to solve on your own third grade. Make sure that you have a piece of paper or a whiteboard. I want you to solve the problem 91 minus 63. You're going to have to regroup, so be very careful. What is 91 minus 63? I'm sure you realized you needed to regroup, and you ended up with 8 tens, and 11 ones. I'm sure you then used your combined distance from 10 strategy to find that 11 minus 1 equals 8. Then you looked at the tens place and saw 8 minus 6 equaled 2. So 91 minus 63 equals 28. Thank you for solving these subtraction problems with me today, third grade. We'll practice some more subtraction with regrouping tomorrow.